If you don't know, Overwatch turns 10 years old in, I believe, 5 or 6 months. And recently I was talking to someone and that came up. And whenever I tell people that I've been playing this game for 10 years and I still find it fun, I always get this weird look, kind of like they can't believe it that I played the same game for 10 years straight and I still don't find it boring. Although granted, a lot of the people who I tell that to, and they seem really confused, they tend to play the same games. I'm not gonna say what games those are. Just imagine the kind of games a person who says gaming's dead would play. I think you can get a pretty good idea about what I'm talking about. But that got me thinking, like, why do I still find this game fun? Like, granted, it's been out for 10 years. I've played it pretty consistently. Obviously, not like every day, 6 hours a day. I feel like if I did that, then maybe. But I don't. And I was thinking about it. And despite some of the tough patches this game has been through, I mean, probably the worst patch it's been through is like the pre-Overwatch 2 era, so kind of like after they announced it and started working on that. Obviously, if your team is working on an entirely new game, the current game isn't going to get as frequent of updates or patches, which is kind of why we dealt with like the Go Tenna for as long as we did, which is why we dealt with the double shield as long as we did. But besides that, I was thinking about some of the reasons that I still find this game fun, and to be honest, I kind of wanted to talk about it. And to be honest, these videos are taking longer to edit than I expected, so I kind of need some of the post. So yeah. Anyways, let's get into it. So, I think the first thing I want to start with is the heroes that they've released in Overwatch 2. Most of them I find pretty fun, or some I find fun, some I can see how people would find them fun, just me personally, not my cup of tea. I mean, some of the most recent ones, I think they've been doing pretty good. Like the Detta came out, she's really fun. Before that was Wu Yang, I believe, and he's pretty cool. I'm a big fan of him. I like playing him. Before that was Freya, I believe. And as much as a certain community doesn't like her, playing her, I find her very fun. I think she's probably one of the most fun DPS to play, and this is coming from a person who doesn't particularly care for DPS. I'm not sure, I've just never been too much of a DPS player in any game. But then thinking about everyone else, you have Kiriko, you have Junker Queen, who else came out? Ram was pretty fun. I'm sure there's a couple I'm forgetting, but the other thing I wanted to mention, probably another big reason, is the release of Stadium. Now, I will admit, at first, I didn't find Stadium too much fun. It wasn't really my cup of tea. But playing it more and more, I've started to really enjoy it. I mean, I think I started playing it more when the comp got changed from best of 7 to best of 5, because honestly that was kind of my biggest issue with it, because every game took at least like half an hour. But then when it got changed to a best of 5, I tried it again, and admittedly I started to really enjoy it. Maybe because they released more heroes, I got to play some of my favorite heroes in that game mode. I've started to really come around to it, and now to be fair, I still only play the quick play version. One, because I don't really care to play comp if I'm playing on my own, and two, I just find the best of 5 to be a more enjoyable experience. Although I will say I do understand that people like Stadium because of how long it is. That is totally fair. You are entitled to that opinion. Just me personally, I prefer the best of 5. But another thing I will touch on is, now I might be in the minority here for thinking this, but it's what I've noticed. The current community, honestly, may be at one of its better points. Now, I will say there was definitely times, especially after 2 came out, where the community was in a pretty bad place. It was definitely a lot of toxicity, and I guess to be fair, I'm not saying like, most of the community was toxic. Most of the community just plays, and it's just a really loud minority. But there was a certain point, I won't say what or when, but I'm sure you can probably guess what I'm referring to. There was a certain point where a lot of the more, I guess, casual gamers, I'm not even sure if that's the right term, but I'm just gonna say it is. A lot of the more casual people left, and the people who stayed evidently cared about this game, found this game fun. And I think ever since then, I think the games and the community has been in one of its better points. I mean, I find a lot of the discussions now to be a lot more positive. A lot of the current creators I see on, whether it be YouTube or Instagram, any of that stuff, tend to be mostly positive. I will say there's a few outliers here and there, but you can't expect everyone to be positive 100% of the time. And just a couple more tiny things that I find this game does really well is A, the collabs, and B, kind of on a lesser scale, some of the seasons. For the collabs, they've had some really, really good ones. I mean, the ones that come to mind are the Tula Seraphim ones, the Persona 5 one, the 77 one was pretty good. What else was there? And there's a couple more that, I personally wasn't a fan of the thing or the show or whoever they collab with, but that's not on them. That's just me not being a fan of that, which is fine. Not every collab is going to appeal. And there's a couple other tiny things here and there that I won't really touch on because I feel like I may be rambling a bit too much, but I got the important things I wanted to say. So I hope you enjoyed this kind of different style of video. I don't intend to do this kind of thing too often, mainly because I tend to get off track quite a lot when it comes to these. Also, partially because I hate reading off a script, so everything you just heard is me just talking off my head. So I hope you liked it. I hope, I don't know, maybe you agree with me, maybe you disagree. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. I hope you all have a fantastic day or night or afternoon, whatever time it is. So, watching back this video, I realized when I was talking about the recent heroes, I just realized I never even mentioned, the hero that is in my top 5 most played now, and who is the literal icon of this channel. So, as an apology, here is a quick old montage.
You